Good morning, everyone. I hope you're doing well. I hope you are blessed, and I hope you're in high spirits. I want to give my take real quick on the Sacramento shooting. I saw the press conference, and the politicians were talking about, controlling gun violence, making it a gun issue. And I didn't hear anybody in that shooting limited by the 10 round capacity magazine laws in the state. So they were going to get these weapons anyways. None of these sounded like legal guns. One. Two, I heard from them talk about investment in youth and gangs as well. But this is what I'll tell you about Sacramento. The area where this happened, downtown, used to be the barrio. And that's where all the homeless were located because it was the barrio. But it's not the barrio no more. Those are $1 million homes. Sacramento has invested a ton of money in making downtown a world-class destination. And in order to protect that, the homeless have been largely moved out of there. And their plan is to consolidate all those homeless services in a historically black neighborhood, Meadowview and South Sac. In North Sacramento, one of the politicians, Harris, proposed a homeless shelter 3 yards from an elementary school that is mostly Mexican kids. In South Sac, Jay Chenier proposed a homeless shelter across the street from Burbank, which is almost all Mexican, Black, and Southeast Asians. If something is going to pollute a community, they put it in South Sac to protect wealthy East Sac, to protect downtown that is now gentrified. People from North Oak Park were kicked into South Oak Park, overcrowding it even more to make room for gentrification. So while Sacramento politicians talk about this is a gun issue, I look at it like, no, you keep shitting on poor black and brown communities. You keep dumping everything in there that nobody wants. And I'm not saying I don't want a homeless shelter here. I'm okay. It's not my place to prevent anyone from helping someone. But I do have to call out your racism in consolidating those services in poor black and brown communities. So every time you shit on us, you make the conditions here worse. You make it harder. We had a guy who was killed by police, and it was deemed suicide by cop because he was depressed. I'm not going to argue that. But let's say he was depressed. How much harder is it for him to find something to be hopeful about if he lives next door to, a lot of broken people? And again, I'm not saying I don't want one in my community. I'm saying they need to be distributed equitably. So as long as the politicians in Sacramento keep shitting on communities like South Sacramento, like Northgate, other politically weak black and brown communities, you create a frustration in our communities that bubbles up in your world-class destination downtown. I've known people who have died at clubs, and that was South Sac shit playing out in downtown. So you can't protect your clubs with more lights, with more cameras, because all this happened in crowds of people. The mayor tried to say it's safe, this is not normal, it's random, but recently people were killed in Old Sac. Multiple shooters, multiple victims, and it happened on New Year's as well. So as long as you, politicians from Sacramento, keep shitting on poor communities and creating circumstances where people are frustrated, they're hopeless, and no one seems to value their lives, that's just going to bubble over into your nightclub world-class destination, because they're going to look for an escape from the poverty and misery they see and look for it where you guys have built something up. But you've demoralized them and devalued them so much that they don't care about your cameras, your laws, and your gun laws. They're going to react like if they were in that rough place that you helped create with your racist policies. So that's my take on the Sacramento shooting. It's not a gun issue as much as it is you politicians creating pockets of poverty in Sacramento where life doesn't seem to matter because you don't seem to care about their lives. You don't seem to care about the pollution that's harming them. You don't seem to care about the equity in their homes and how that allows their kids to take advantage of internships and maybe not have to work and bust their ass to get through school. Because you hit their equity, consolidating all services in their neighborhood. Those rich kids in East Sac, they don't got to worry about busting their ass to go through college because their parents can help them. They don't have to worry about an internship because they can afford to take it. Poor kids might not be able to. They might have to work to go to school. So now when hiring happens for these good jobs, guess who's going to get it? The kid that didn't have to worry about working and studying. The kid who was able to do an internship and everyone knew him. That's what you take away from people when you consolidate services in black and brown communities. You set them back. And because of that, a lot of them are frustrated. A lot of them don't have hope. And that shit bubbles up in downtown. So don't think your cameras and lights and added security is really addressing the issue. Katie asking to go to Washington is not addressing the issue. Katie should stop talking about how great consolidating services in Meadowview is going to be for the rest of the city, because you're putting all the solutions on the backs of black and brown people. So at least be honest about the conditions you help create that foster people who don't value life and then behave like that in downtown. That's what happened. It wasn't a gun issue because, again, it didn't sound like anyone was using a legal gun. Quit turning this into a political gain for you guys. Quit pretending you care. If you really cared, you wouldn't propose major homeless shelters across the street from already disadvantaged black, brown, and Asian kids. That's where you care, not these chest thumping about send me to Washington to talk about guns. Yeah, I agree. There's no need for assault rifles. I'm not debating that guns are out of control. This is about you pointing the finger at something else when your policies are partly to blame because you have devalued, dehumanized, tokenized, used and abused the poor black and brown people of Sacramento. And some of them, they just didn't have hope, I'm guessing. They didn't have any reason to live. No one seemed to care about them. And that's what you get. I hope you hear this and you take stock of yourself. Some of you are supposed to be justice advocates. Some of you have been on the school board and then on city council don't say nary a peep about other city council members nominating locations right next to where poor black, brown, and Asian people live, work, play, study, and practice their religion. That's you guys putting everything bad that East Sac, Lamb Park, the Fab 40s don't want in our neighborhoods, and then blaming guns when people from those neighborhoods have no hope and don't value their life or other people's lives. Anyways, that's my rant on the Sacramento shooting. I think, it's a lot deeper than what the politicians would have you to believe with their platitudes. Anyways, thank you for listening.